What is the most important thing we need to get right when we are working with a team? Well, I will go through that in this video, but the second most important thing we need to get right is systems and processes. So hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to learn how we actually approach processes and systems in our businesses.
So topic today is building your company like a machine. So creating standard operating procedures that evolve. So key question really is that what is the number one thing to get right in any team? And it doesn't matter like what the size of the team is. So even if it's just like two people, we can consider that a team. But still, if it's just 2 people, 3 people, 100 people, what is the number one thing to get right in any team? So any suggestions? What do you think? What is the number one thing in a team? Obviously there are many different things, but what is number one? Well, I would definitely say number one thing is communication, because if we are not really communicating, then how do we even know that we are going to the same direction? So it's going to be pretty chaotic, right? So we have to get that right. Whenever you start working with other people, like human beings, whether it's your employees, or maybe it's some business partners or some joint ventures, but you're doing with some other people or with suppliers or whatever, whoever you work with, we have to get the communication right. So that's definitely the number one thing to do. And anyone who has heard about McDonald's, how they work, like systematizing and stuff like that, or if you have read the book like E-Myth, you know that you need to create systems and you need to create the standard operating procedures, but those are not a replacement for effective communication. So communication has to be there always. But what happens when someone is away for days, weeks or months? And I'm not even talking about if someone just quits. If someone quits, then usually we can prepare for it. So let's say that valuable team member is leaving, then during the handover period, the person can start writing all these documentation and stuff like this. But just consider this, that okay, what if one day one of your team members is away? First it's just a couple of days, but then it extends to weeks and maybe even months. So are you still able to get the work done, or is someone still able to do it even regardless? So that's one of the reasons that's why we need to have these systems and documentation. And basically SOPs, it's just this instructional document that provides this really clear instructions how to really complete certain processes, and it's really this explanation of what needs to happen to ensure given a process going as planned. So it's really a step-by-step instructions compiled by an organization to help workers carry out routine operations. And actually, one thing that we also started thinking that when we started doing this, together Victor, when we started, we realized that when we are hiring new people that, okay, we want to systematize everything. We would not want to have systems for every single thing, and that's fine and dandy. Sounds great, right? So that's what kind of happened. But then we kind of realized that, okay, I need to get some specific thing done, and then a new person looks, and what happens? It basically there was situations that this has changed, that has changed. So basically this whole instructions is completely out of date. So that's a really actually natural thing to happen. So that's why we also have need to have this kind of a system in making sure that all these SOPs are up to date. And it's not reality, or it's not like you cannot really expect to every single thing to have a detailed SOP. I mean, we actually want to hire smart people who are just able to also figure things out. So it's not even realistic that we have every single detail carried out, because I mean, things change pretty quickly, especially with Amazon. So we cannot expect to document like every single thing. But yeah, I mean, so I wouldn't say that you need to document every single activity to do. I mean, okay, it depends on your business model. But for example, when you're selling on Amazon, then it's not really realistic. So, but anyway, so when you're doing something that you want to try to document and create a checklist, so this is definitely a habit that we need to teach our employees. So it's not going to be us who's doing these SOPs. No, I mean, it should be our people who are responsible for a certain task, that they are also doing these systems and also making sure that things are up to date. Yeah, so there's many different ways how you can do these SOPs, but I mean, main thing is just to keep it really as simple as possible. I mean, just one Google document is fine, and we usually like couple those with different videos and stuff like this. So I mean, the simple, the better. So, and I mean, it's good to consider or have this kind of approach that, I mean, everything is a process and everything can be documented. I mean, and that's absolutely true. Everything can be documented, but it's a completely different question that, okay, is this really worthwhile in documenting? So if it's really minor things, then why do we even bother then? I mean, then it's much better if we have kind of like framework, how to handle these kind of situations and what kind of behavior to have in these certain kind of situations, than like creating this detailed list that, okay, if then else, if this happens, then do that. And then, I mean, if you're going to be really like take it to heart, then it would mean that we end up with thousands of these, and who's going to read those thousands of statements? Probably most of them won't be even checked, and with those will actually get out of date. But yeah, absolutely, I mean, everything in our business, there is a process, and there's also a good kind of like saying in the business world that basically just identify like 9 specific processes that happens in your business, that without these 9 processes, your business cannot exist, and then start there and start basically documenting these, and really not only documenting, but also optimizing those 9 key processes. So yeah, I mean, we want to have documents, checklists, and if-else statements, then screen recordings, and also like time frames. Like, what is usually the expected time to carry out a certain task? Because if you know that certain like task takes certain time, I mean, then, or certain projects require a certain time, then I mean, then we are actually able to measure it and optimize it. And one good example is like, how long does it usually take to launch a project? So after we have really found the product opportunities, so how long it takes to, I mean, do all the different first of all, I mean, how long does it take to find this product opportunity and do all the research for that? How long does it take to do the perfect product blueprint? How long does it take to source it, and blah, 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 like all those different things, launching, ranking, and so on. So, I mean, when we have clear time frames, then the expectations are also clear. Because imagine that you join a new team and you start reading this system, and if it doesn't tell you anything like, okay, how long should it take to, I mean, launch a product, then, I mean, the person might just think that, oh, okay, I mean, it takes what it takes. It might take even 1 year to get an idea live on Amazon. And I mean, as a business owner, I mean, as an Amazon seller, we would say that, hey, no. I mean, 1 year, I mean, even 6 months, it's just way too long. We need to get it like down to pretty much like less than a month, right? But yeah, so we need to be clear on those time frames and also these roles and responsibility, like who is a responsible person for not only doing these things but also updating these documents. For example, in our company, like we have this like listing optimizer role. So that's what we call like PLOs, like product listing optimizers. So when they are responsible for doing like many different things for their products and for the product listings. So I mean, you can imagine that they have a lot of these SOPs for doing specific things for the product, and one of those responsibilities also, I mean, keeping all these checklist documents and all that stuff up to date. And you know, it's a really annoying thing to notice, like if these documents are not up to date. And I actually remember one case where, I mean, it happened that, okay, our like person from logistics person like was away, and then we had to like deal with some supplier related stuff, and then we were actually not even sure that, okay, what is the specific process here, because we were checking out some documents that this is not up to date, so we don't even know the right people, we don't even know the right company, we don't even know what is the exact process that how this should be handled. So if you have that kind of dependency to one person, then just imagine what happens if that person leaves, then we are pretty screwed, right? So that's why we don't want to end up in a situation where, like, if a person is away, then everything pretty much crumbles down. So, and it's another good point to consider that, I mean, when you do these different things, these SOPs, then it's also, we get this understanding that, okay, how much work this actually is, and how much actually, I mean, okay, do we need to hire more people, and so on. And one key thing that really is worthwhile optimizing, like as soon as a new person joins in, we want to make it so that that person can pretty much contribute from, I mean, if not from day one, then at least as close to day one as possible, because it's really catastrophic in this kind of environment where everything is changing quickly. If a new person joins in, and it will take us like weeks or months to train that person, and before and during that training period, I mean, the person is not even able to contribute. So it will actually impact two things. It will just make things slow because that person is not able to contribute, but additionally, then some other person needs to, I mean, train that person, which will actually decrease the performance, because then the person is not able to focus on the task that he or she is usually doing. So yeah. And if we have to, okay, fine, if you are just doing a one-time thing, or if you are just doing a thing that, I mean, maybe we just do like once per 2 years or whatever, then it's just good to consider that, is this even worthwhile in documenting? Because this is such a rare process, and I mean, it's probably going to change in a few years. Then it's, I mean, why even bother doing it? I mean, if it's a one-time thing, then who cares? But especially if it's something that's going to be repeating all the time, then we need to definitely, I mean, document it. So, I mean, benefits of really recording these processes is, first of all, I mean, we buy back time and we are able to do better quality work and so on. So it will pretty much have like short-term and long-term benefits. And one key thing is also that once people do this documenting, it will actually make things more clear for them as well. So they're much more better equipped to understand the task that what they are doing. So it pretty much builds up mastery as well. So if I'm doing certain things, let's say I'm just doing like optimized listings. So if I actually have to document it, then I'm just going to be considering that, okay, is this really the right way to do it? So it's pretty much similar to like teaching someone, and I mean, teaching will always increase mastery. I mean, that goes without saying. So if you really want to become good at something, then you must be able to teach it, and that will immediately bring your skills to the next level.
If you like this topic, then hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to learn more and actually join a group where people are discussing these topics, then just comment group and we will reach out to you and add you to the group. See you there.